Now, when we think about technology, we usually think about microchips and smartphones and whatnot. But did you know that bones are actually some of the most highly engineered structures known to man? Seriously, they're way stronger than concrete. I mean, look at this elephant bone here. It was found in the Labrie tar pits, and it has withstood the test of time. So well that scientists can actually tell exactly what the elephant was doing when it died, based on the bone itself. Like, how cool is that? Well, it turns out that these fossilized bones are still not as impressive as living elephant bones, which have a unique internal structure that makes them stronger than steel at resisting impacts. And the reason why elephant bones can be so strong is because of something called an osteocyte. An osteocyte is kind of like the captain of the bone ship. They're in charge of maintaining the bone's tissue and making sure it stays nice and strong. And their little bone ship has some really impressive technology built into it. For example, there's this canal that runs through the middle of each bone called the reversion canal. And it's full of blood vessels that deliver nutrients to the osteocytes and the other cells in the bone. And the reversion canals are arranged in concentric circles around the center of the bone, which makes the bone really strong in all directions. But even though bone tissue is super strong, it's also super lightweight, which helps elephants move around more easily. I mean, imagine trying to walk if every step was like trying to move a boulder. Not fun. But maybe the coolest thing about osteocytes is that they can actually sense danger and then send out an alarm to the rest of the body. You see, osteocytes have these tiny little hairs called cilia that stick out from the cell, and they're constantly moving. And when they sense a potential problem, like a crack or a break, they can send out chemical signals to other osteocytes nearby. And those nearby osteocytes can then activate genes that produce proteins which strengthen the bone. So you can actually hear bones strengthening themselves in response to an injury. Pretty freaking awesome. But it gets even cooler because there's another type of cell in the bone called a bone-forming cell, or an osteoblast. And when they get the signal from the osteocytes, they start making new bone tissue. So basically, osteoblasts are like the repair crew for the bone, and they work really fast. In fact, they can make a brand new layer of bone tissue in just a few days. That's faster than most other tissues in the body. And that's why bones heal so quickly when you break one. But sometimes the repair crew doesn't do such a good job. Sometimes their repairs are a little too strong, and that can lead to something called heterotopic bone formation, which is when extra bone tissue starts growing in weird places. And that can cause all sorts of problems, like making it harder to move around or even putting pressure on nerves. Heterotopic bone formation can happen after a surgery or a bad fall, but it can also happen for no apparent reason at all. In fact, scientists have found people with extra bone growing in their brains, their muscles, and their ligaments. But even though all of these things are made of the same stuff, they don't form in the same way. Scientists think that extra bone might form in muscles and ligaments because of mechanical stress. You see, your muscles and ligaments are constantly being pulled and stretched when you move around. And normally, that's a good thing. It makes them stronger and more flexible. But sometimes it can cause tiny little tears in the muscle fibers or the connective tissue. And when that happens, your body jumps into action and tries to repair the damage. And in some cases, the repair crew goes a little overboard and starts laying down extra bone tissue. And that can cause all sorts of problems, like making it harder to move around or even putting pressure on nerves. So yeah, even though our bones are super cool and all, I wouldn't wish extra bone growing in my brain. But hey, at least you learned something today. So it's not all bad. If you want to learn more about the amazing world around us, check out the series in the description. Each week they'll take you on an exciting adventure to explore a different aspect of science. From space to the ocean to the human body, there's something for everyone. So, what amazed you most about the technology of bone? The self-healing, the smart implants, the 3D printed scaffolds? Comment below, we'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see how truly brilliant their bones are.